Okay, so you've got your basic three-dimensional forms ready to be painted. What are the chances? What are the possibilities to make them look more three-dimensional? I'm going to start with a basic pencil cone and give you a number of ideas of what you could try and do. The first one is basically a sort of a space frame, thickening up the lines, making the architecture of the form look a bit stronger, a bit more chunky. I've added some colour to help increase the three-dimensional look of it. That's a possibility. A second possibility is accentuating the length of the form and the sort of the way that the form bends around. This we've seen in Frank Stella's work during the lessons. He uses these long wedged lines to help create that three-dimensional cone form. You could equally try and use lines which describe the form running in the other direction, around the form. Here I've done it on a cone, but it could equally be used on a cylinder. You could go for a very simple approach. We have two shapes here, or two sides to the shape. One's been given yellow, one's been given blue to help create the three-dimensional form. This will probably work better on a more cuboid form. A rectangular block, a cube, those sorts of forms, where you have three faces and you can give each one a different colour or a different shade. Or you could go for something a little bit more sensitive. Here is a little bit like the Frank Stella example, but here I've worked with a pencil to make the shading get gradually lighter and then gradually darker again. It is of course possible to combine more than one of these into one particular form. So there's the 6 examples next to each other. You can see how different ones work in different ways. When you come to putting your three-dimensional sculpture together, I'd like to see you using more than one different approach on your various 5-6 forms that you have. If we take a look to remind ourselves how other artists have tackled this, a reminder there of the Frank Stella work we've looked at during the lesson. A couple of other examples. Here's one by Al Held, and you can see using different shades of blue, for instance, he's made his cylinders actually look see-through, like tubes. Maybe that's something you can think about. A second one by Al Held, back to more the sort of space frame idea, where you show all of the edges of the shapes, whether they're at the front or at the back, making them almost like a glass block. Here we see them as white shapes. They can of course be coloured shapes. You've painted your shapes colours already. And finally, a drawn approach. This is perhaps the one which has the strongest three-dimensional feeling, maybe, but certainly could be combined with a more colourful approach. Remember, with your examples, I want to see multiple approaches being used.